In 1983, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted a famous experiment that shook our understanding of free will. In it, participants were asked to flex their wrists whenever they wanted. While doing so, their brain was monitored. Here's what shocked everyone. The brain showed signs preparing to move nearly half a second before the person said they had decided. To many, this proved that free will is an illusion, that the brain decides before the self becomes aware. This idea is still widely accepted in neuroscience, psychology, and even in pop culture. But what if the entire framework of this experiment is based on a false assumption, that the brain causes the mind? What if instead, the brain is not the source of consciousness, but a symbolic interface within it? What if this experiment actually shows not the absence of free will, but a misunderstanding of time, agency, and the role of consciousness in reality? The experiment and what Libet found. Libet's test setup was simple. A participant watches a clock. They are told to raise an arm whenever they feel like it. They report the exact moment they felt the intention. Meanwhile, an EEG records brain signals. The key finding, brain activity called the readiness potential, appeared before the person consciously intended to act. Conclusion, the brain already decided. Consciousness is just watching the decision happen. Therefore, free will is a post hoc illusion. But that conclusion only makes sense if we assume the brain produces consciousness. Let's challenge that. Flawed assumption: the brain does not equal the mind. Materialist science assumes the brain is the generator of consciousness. But what if it's more like a receiver or projection system inside a simulation? From a monist or simulation theory view, consciousness is primary. The brain is a rendered organ, part of a dream, a symbolic interface. What we call brain activity is not the source of thought, it's the echo. In this model, the readiness potential isn't the cause of the decision. It is more like a loading screen of the simulation, preparing the body to render an action that consciousness has already willed. From this lens, Libet's experiment is not evidence against free will, it's just evidence that the simulation loads reality before the player reports it. This is not spooky or metaphysical, it's how every video game works. Time is not what we think it is. Libet's interpretation also assumes linear time. First the brain acts, then the mind watches. But time in quantum mechanics and spiritual experience is not linear. It's relational, flexible, and even optional. In the double slit experiment, observation changes the past behavior of particles. In mystical states, as described by saints and yogis, past, present, and future collapses. In David Hawking's map of consciousness, time perception shifts at higher frequencies. Enlightenment is described as timeless awareness. So, in Libet's test, the awareness of intention might occur outside the timeline of the experiment. The readiness potential could simply be the simulation buffering the event to appear coherent in space-time. The brain isn't cheating free will, it's serving it retroactively. Freedom doesn't mean randomness. Another mistake in the determinist view is the idea that free will must look like a totally independent, instantaneous choice. But real freedom is more subtle. It is not the absence of patterns, it is the presence of awareness within them. Think of a dream. Your dream self may act out scripts, fears, or habits, but the moment you become lucid, the dream changes. You're still in the same environment, but now you are free. The same is true in life. Most people live in unconscious patterns, but awakening is the moment when consciousness enters the loop and chooses with awareness. Libet's experiment doesn't disprove this. It just shows that the most decisions begin beneath the surface. But that doesn't mean that the surface can't rise. It doesn't mean you're not the ocean. A conscious simulation still has free will. If this world is a simulation of consciousness, then every choice is both encoded and free, like improv within a game engine. The readiness potential doesn't negate the freedom. It shows that decisions arrive before they are narrated. But narration is not the source of choice. It's the retelling. From a simulation view, the brain is code. The mind is player. The readiness potential is the game queuing up the next frame. The conscious intention is the player realizing what they're already doing. You are not a puppet of the code. You're the code becoming self-aware. Final thought. The real free will is waking up. Libet's cat-in-the-box moment does not prove we are robots. It proves we are more than we thought. You do not make decisions the way you think you do. But that doesn't mean you don't choose. It means choosing is deeper than we thought. It happens in awareness, not words. In a simulation dreamed by consciousness, free will is not about snapping your fingers. It's about becoming aware of the script and choosing how to dance with it. You are not the impulse. You are not the readiness potential. You are not even the thought. You are the awareness behind it all. And when you remember that, you can move freely through any code.